Greatness comes from everywhere, which is why diversity on the pitch has played such a pivotal role in making the Premier League what it is now. Football is a global game, which brings together communities and cultures, uniting people of all backgrounds. The Premier League has welcomed players from 121 different nations since it started in 1992. So if you're not a fan of this diversity, you're not a fan. That is why there is no room for racism anywhere. For more information on the new No Room for Racism campaign, go to premierleague.com/no room for racism. Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live on this Saturday afternoon, and we're about to get another Premier League weekend underway. We're at Kenilworth Road at the newest renovated Premier League stadium at one of the oldest clubs in the Football League. A side that hadn't had top flight football for over 30 years and never played a Premier League game before this season. They got their first Premier League win this time a week ago away at Everton. They'll be hoping to create another big scalping as they welcome Tottenham to their home in London. A London derby, of course. Alongside that, we have 5 other games today in the Premier League. Burnley-Chelsea, Bournemouth's visit to Everton, Fulham hosting Sheffield United, Manchester United, their recent home woes, can they fix it at home against Brentford, and the late game live on LFS as Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. We also have a crazy weekend as well coming up for you throughout the rest of the weekend. But before that, let's have a look at the teams for this game to kick off the Premier League Saturday for you. Rob Edwards names his team following their defeat against Burnley in midweek here. Thomas Kaminski starts in goal, a back 5 of Chidozie Ogbene, Mads Yule Anderson, Tom Lockyer the captain, Reece Burke and Alfie Doughty, with a midfield 2 of Pele Ruddock Mpanzu and Marvellous Nakamba, with a front 3 of Elijah Adebayo, Jacob Brown and Carlton Morris. For Tottenham Hotspur and Ange Postecoglou, who everywhere and everything seems to be rosy in the garden for Tottenham at the moment. Vicario starts in goal. They start with a back 4 of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van de Ven and Destiny Udogie. A midfield 2 of Yves Bissouma and Pape Sarr, with a front 4 of James Maddison, Dejan Kulusevski, Richarlison and captain Heung-min Son. On the bench this afternoon for Luton is Krul, Mengi, Johnson, Giles, Kabore, Chong, Barkley, Berry and Woodrow. And for Spurs, Foster, Dyer, Davies, Lo Celso, Skip, Royal, Højbjerg, Gill and Veliz. Well, this weekend is the No Room for Racism weekend in the Premier League. A designated weekend for all of us to remember that there is no room for racism or any type of discrimination in today's football. Everyone and anyone is accepted as long as you stick to those very fair rules. The kick-off is on the way next here at Kenilworth Road. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Kenilworth Road for another Premier League game. And another Premier League week starts here. Match week 8 in this tight old stadium in London. Spurs unbeaten in the league, one of only 2 teams, both from North London, that are unbeaten. Luton getting 4 points from their last 3 games is a much more positive turnaround since the start of the season. The players take a knee in unison in saying there is no room for discrimination in today's game. And we're underway then. Heung-min Son, the Spurs captain, gets us going for another Premier League weekend. Luton in their traditional orange shirts with black shorts, and Tottenham in their faded purple kit, which is their third kit, by the way, that they are playing in this afternoon. Let's just see exactly what's going to happen today. You know, Spurs have been incredible to start the season. What can they do to keep their unbeaten run going against a side that's kind of in a bit better form recently in Luton? Despite that defeat to Burnley in the week, they did get that massive positive first ever Premier League win away at Everton last weekend, and of course that draw before that. So it's still a positive form for Luton, as Tottenham have it at the back here, trying to play it through the lines. That's nice work. Down the right hand side is Kulusevski for Spurs, trying to put the ball in, cuts it back to Udogie. Can they force it round? Have to go backwards though, Spurs, although almost nicked there by Ogbene there. Spurs keep it with Bissouma. Udogie. Romero across to Van de Ven. Down the left hand side is Richarlison. Ball across and cleared away by Luton. Son was in there, trying to cause a few issues, but Luton defended it well. Reece Burke trying to stop Richarlison there, but Richarlison holds strong and gets it to his centre back. Van de Ven. Romero. Out to the right hand side is Porro. Spurs playing it quickly. Nice quick feet. Here's James Maddison. Kulusevski with a cross right in. And what a chance and what a miss. Richarlison. Massive opportunity. Lovely ball by Dejan Kulusevski from the right hand side. Just see it again. Maddison just lays it off to Kulusevski. Takes a kind of touch inside and left foot across, and Richarlison has the goal at his mercy. And he just side foots it with his left foot right over the crossbar. Huge opportunity for Spurs to get an early goal, but that'll be promising. They can find those spaces and they create those chances. One is bound to go in, but that is a huge miss by Richarlison. What an opportunity early on. Here he is. Finds it to Bissouma. Bissouma driving forward, gives it out wide. Maddison on the run. Down the left hand side is Maddison, trying to break into the box, gets to the byline, tries to cut it back, still waiting, cuts it back. Here's Udogie on the edge, gives it back to Maddison, tries to go on the overlap. Maddison forced backwards though, flicked by Bissouma, back to James Maddison. Spurs in the attacking area, but Luton holding strong and holding their kind of formation, sticking in their shape. Spurs just trying to play quick, cute football to play around it. Here's Pape Sarr, and that ball is well defended by Anderson in there. But Luton, every time they try and break away, Spurs just win it back on the halfway line and go on another attack. Getting very physical. Luton try and break it up, but then Kulusevski wins it back. Son, now Maddison. Maddison straight it through. Here's Richarlison. What a big save by Kaminski. Two big chances for Richarlison. Kulusevski keeps it alive, but that's cleared away by Alfie Doughty. Two huge opportunities for Spurs early on here. Both for Richarlison. An awful miss for the first one, and then a really great save by Thomas Kaminski in the second. How Spurs are not ahead? There's questions being asked now. How they're not 1-0 up at least. Of course, Spurs, a point would put them level on points with Manchester City at the top. A win would, of course, put them above Manchester City before Manchester City play tomorrow against Arsenal, remember? Well, I talked about the dominance of Spurs. 96% possession. That's the most I've seen from any team Although we've only played 4 minutes or so, but that is huge numbers. 96%. That shows the dominance from Tottenham early on, and 2 huge chances for Richarlison. Should do so much better for that second one. Just can't, he's stretching out for it, can't get a clean strike on it. Should do so much better, but twice now Richarlison has had chances, but he's playing down the left-hand side, which usually is the space that Son occupies when Richarlison plays through the middle, but they've swapped today. Son playing through the middle, and Richarlison coming off the left. Seems to be catching out the Luton defence because he's already had a couple of chances, and see what they can do from this position of having Richarlison down that left-hand side, and what more problems he can cause to the Luton back 5 at the moment. And they go down the right-hand side now, Spurs. Kulishevsky. Now Romero finds Son. Son on the edge, takes the strike, blocked. Doughty with a clearance. Morris was probably his first touch of the game here, Carlton Morris. Nakamba. Can he find a way through? Has to go back to his keeper. Kaminski, who knocks it long. Headed away by Bissouma, brought down by Morris, who came deep for it. Here is Carlton Morris. Poor ball to find Burke, intercepted by Adogi. Destiny Adogi. Goes back to Mickey van de Ven. Spurs will build again. So still 0-0, 6 minutes gone. Spurs have had all the chances so far. That's a free kick there. Tom Lockyer a bit overzealous in that challenge, and foul has been given against him. The Luton captain. Here's Romero. Luton trying to apply the press, but Mickey van de Ven picks it up. Plays it straight through. Here's Son. Linking up with Madison. All the way through. It's a nice ball. It's a miss by Pape Sarr. Wide of the right-hand side. Or is it Porro? It's one of the two of them anyway. It is Pedro Porro. Just made the driving run from the right-hand side. Son spotted the run of Porro. And Porro sped the way through. And I think it's Ogbene that tried to break it apart. Huge opportunity again for Spurs. Chance after chance after chance so far. But not a single one of them can find the back of the net. Of course, the scoring goals for fun, Spurs, at the start of this season. 17 goals in their first 7 games. It's an average of 2.5 goals a game. Doughty back to Kaminski. Knocks it long again, Kaminski. Again, Spurs win the first ball. It's a really good challenge. There's a lovely ball through. Here's Carlton Morris for Luton. Their first foray forward into the 18-yard box of Spurs. Played it across. And got in the way was Christian Romero to break it apart. Here is Richarlison under pressure. Has to go back to Van de Ven. But that was the first time Luton really broke up the Spurs midfield. It was Mpanzu that time. Give to Adebayo, and then Adebayo laid it off to Carlton Morris. They're getting physical, Luton. That's kind of where they need to do it. They've just got a bit too physical there on Heung-min Son. And that'll be a free kick to the visiting side. Well, Rob Edwards is... Well, if Ange Postecoglou's not happy, Rob Edwards is furious about the chances his team are giving up early on in this game. The lack of possession they're having. And how easy it is for Spurs to play through them at the moment. Space is absolutely everywhere. Here's Bissouma. Plays it across to Romero. Out wide is Porro. Back to Romero. Safer says want them on the Spurs. One says they've been playing ALR lately. All right lately, probably. Another ball forward. Here is Son in the box. Son with a strike. High and wide from the South Korean. Should have done better from that position, Son. It's a long ball from the back from Romero. It's headed across by Madison, I think it is. And Romero Son, just takes it down. Left-footed strike, but high and wide. This is far too easy for Spurs. The many chances that they're having, Luton were so dogged and physical and kind of tight against Everton and hard to break down. There's 2 players down here, 1 for each team. Well, I was just talking there. Carlton Morris is down. And there's a Spurs player down as well on that side. Morris is holding his head for the moment. The referee has stopped the game. Just to check on both players. But, Luton were so dogged and tight defensively last week against Everton, and they got the result. They were a bit more open against Burnley, but they were going toe-to-toe with Burnley, as they should, teams in and around them. But today, they look really open. The spaces in between the lines is unreal, how wide the gaps are in this Luton shape. And when they get into shape, they're not closing down the runners. James Maddison has probably had the freedom of Kenilworth Road so far this game. The vast majority of the Spurs players have. And they take that drop ball in Spurs. Here's Christian Romero. Pape Sarr back to Vicario. Now Van de Ven. Across to Romero. Trying to pick out a pass. Romero goes down the right hand side. And that's good pressure from Luton. Forces a mistake from the Spurs forward there. Kulishevsky, and Luton will get the throw in on that far side. Doughty to take. Doughty takes the long throw in down the line. Morris trying to get the first header, but Spurs intercepted again. Bissouma. Maddison back to Bissouma. Back to Van de Ven. Romero. Quick pass of football from Spurs. And see if Luton can get any more of the ball. They've had a bit more possession, 14%. It's better than the 4% they had in the first 5 minutes of the game. Still Spurs in total control. Udogie linking up with Richarlison. Nice ball out to the right hand side, or left hand side, sorry, but Jacob Brown just a bit too much on Richarlison there and will give away the free kick. Trying to win it back does Jacob Brown. Richarlison tried to speed past him and Brown just puts a kind of cynical challenge in. Does get the ball, but he takes the man out in the process, and Spurs will have the free kick on the left hand side. This is one thing Luton will also have to try and tighten up on. Spurs are one of the best teams at set pieces in the division, in the league. Their deliveries, especially with James Maddison. He has a special type of delivery from a set piece. We can see what they can do. Maddison takes it short this time though. Edge of the box, flicked in by Bissouma, back post, and just overhit that one. Romero was the closest to it for Spurs, but too much pace on that one from Bissouma, and that will run for a Luton goal kick. Comes to nothing then. In the Championship, we have a game in the early kick-off in the Championship, Sunderland against Middlesbrough. That also kicked off at 12:30 this afternoon. It's 0-0 in that one. Keep you up to date with that game as that continues this afternoon. So Thomas Kaminski to take this goal kick then for Luton. Fires it long. Morris wins the first header, but his header's flicked on too much, and Vicario will pick it up in his own 18-yard box for Spurs. Van de Ven. Vicario. Van de Ven. Richarlison. Back to Vicario. Here's Christian Romero. Now Mickey Van de Ven in a bit of space. Plays it forward to Pape Sarr. Richarlison now. Looking to come in field, switching the ball across. That one is too much for Richarlison. And that goes right out of play on the far side. And that will go for a Luton throw-in. Bit sloppy that from Spurs. Getting too overconfident at the moment there. Kaminski under pressure. Forced to go long, and that one is good press from Heung-min Son, because it forced Kaminski to put it straight out of play, and that will be a Spurs throw-in now. Maddison. Good from Udogie to keep it alive. Richarlison tries to fire forward, but Burke trying to put in a challenge. Done well there, Richarlison, to keep the possession. Nice Sar out wide to Kulishevsky. Up against Doughty, cuts it back to Bissouma now. Papisar. Van de Ven breaking forward. Van de Ven with a strike. Well over the bar there from Mickey Van de Ven, but the space opened up for him. You knew he was going to go for the strike, but probably should have fared against it, really. After we've seen the finish. Not the best, I would say. Worth an opportunity, though. Well, massively important for Luton, this game. They see themselves, as it stands, with this being a draw at the moment, outside the bottom three, ahead of Everton, Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Burnley, with all four teams below them playing at 3 o'clock. Ball across from Spurs, cleared away by Lockyer. And the follow-up is struck by Son, but saved by Kaminski. See this again. It's a ball out from the back. It's given away by Doughty. Picked up by Kulishevsky, who puts the burners on. Plays it right across, looking for the ball at the back post for Maddison. They don't clear the lines, Luton again. Lockyer does get a touch on it. They don't clear the lines. It falls to Son, who strikes at it, but luckily it was only straight at Kaminski that time. But again, Luton not doing the basics right, and that's why Spurs are having much the better of the game so far. When the ball gets into the box, they just aren't clearing their lines well enough at the moment. Even when they have the ball, Luton, they're giving it away far too often. One thing they need to do is ride through this spell of Spurs dominance, and they will get a part in the game where they will have a spell of possession. And they need to make the most of that when it comes. They need to be thankful that they are still at 0-0, because the chances that the Spurs have had have been more than enough to put at least one goal onto the scoreboard at the moment. Here's Christian Romero for Spurs. Sar. Maddison. Bissouma. Nice football. Porro feeds it through. Looking for Son. Closed off. Better there from Tom Lockyer. And Kaminski with the clearance. Again, broke apart by Bissouma, that ball. Bissouma driving forward, lovely ball. Bit of a panic in the box there. Luton too casual, the strike! Coming from the right hand side from Richarlison, and that one's another high and wide one. But so many chances. Credit the Spurs, because they're shooting on sight, really. They're not waiting. And that's another poor challenge. James Maddison. Awful challenge by Tom Lockyer. He's in the book. Just come back from the replay. I'll see it again. Ball out from the back. Lockyer just picks it up heavy for an awful first touch. Rolls it off his foot. Maddison tries to go in to win the ball. Lockyer just slides a foot in. A late challenge on Maddison, and he can blame no one but himself there. Really, Tom Lockyer, because it was his heavy touch that led him having to make that challenge. And he's found himself in the referee's book, the first man to a yellow card of the afternoon, and he's going to have to walk a tightrope now. And considering how dominant Spurs have been in attack, that's going to be a real tough task. Maddison standing over this free kick that he won there, with his pressure on the Luton centre-back. Udogie's also beside it, but not a bad space for Maddison here on the edge of the left-hand side of the box. Round about where the intersecting corner is, just about there, on the very edge of that left line. Maddison right-footed, headed away. went to go for goal himself. And good header away by Morris. All the way back to Vicario. That was good. Better defending from Luton. Madison's ball was a bit predictable. You can say you knew what he was going to try and do, and Luton covered it well. And of course, Spurs unbeaten in 7 games already this season. 5 wins, 2 draws. And they'll be looking to keep that run going under Ange Postecoglou. It's been an absolute incredible start. Only dropping points this season to Brentford on the opening day and away at Arsenal. Winning all of their home games this season. Spurs all 3 of their home games against big sides as well in Liverpool and Man United. And winning tough away games as well against Bournemouth and Burnley. Some very good results for Spurs this season. And Panzu trying to feed it in, and luckily they clear it away, but it falls to Nakamba, who, my goodness me, marvellous. Nakamba's strike was far from marvellous there. Completely hashes at it, and it goes well wide of the left post. Kind of strikes right through the ball and loses the footing of the ball, losing the connection, and it's an awful finish. That's better from Luton though. They win it again here. Here's Nakamba down the left hand side. Is that Morris cross in and hits the side netting? Want the deflection. Jacob Bryan wants a said there was a deflection, wants a corner, but John Brooks said there was no deflection. I'll see it again. Might have been. It's difficult from that angle, but it might have been a slight touch off Pedro Porro, but too tough to call there. Goal kick given. That's probably the first time Luton have challenged, and that's another free kick, and the referee is given a free kick. Carlton Morris can't believe it. He said that wasn't a foul. It is a bit of a light one, to be fair, but the crowd getting behind their star striker Carlton Morris. Spurs getting the free kick though. Here's Christian Romero. Van de Ven. Out to Udogie. Back across. Romero. Through the lines, coming deep as Son, but he's intercepted now. Morris, lovely flick. Adebayo. And that's really good defending for Son to recover it. Reece Burke just couldn't get past him there. Spurs have the ball back. Burke just tried to break down the right hand side, but Spurs broke it apart. Madison tried to thread a ball through. Dowdy just got it cleared. Now Nakamba for Luton. Down the left hand side is Ogbene, and he does burst past the Spurs defender. Here's Ogbene at the byline. Cuts it back to the edge looking for Mpanzu, but Spurs has bodies. We're getting bodies back and broke up that pass. Luton showing a few glimpses. Now Bissouma breaking down the other end. Looking to thread it through for Son. Lockyer covering it over, and Kaminski coming for the catch. I said Luton would get a bit of a spell where they would be coming into the game. Spurs' dominance wouldn't last forever. When this spell of possession comes around, they need to make the chances that they create count, Luton, because if they don't, Spurs will certainly take their chances afterwards. Kaminski with a clearance. Ball down the line, trying to find Jacob Bryan, but too high for Bryan to head, and it goes out of play for a Tottenham throw-in. Don't forget, we have an incredible weekend of Premier League football here for you this weekend. 4 games, including this one. We head to South London later this afternoon for the evening game. Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest, before an incredible doubleheader on Premier League Sunday as well to get your teeth into. We'll tell you more about that after. Here is Luton breaking down with Ogbene. Ogbene with a cross, flicked around, and Romero had to put it behind for the corner. Luton having a better spell at the moment. Ogbene just finding that ball down the left hand side. He just tried to square it right across, and Romero kind of panicked and flicked it behind for the corner. Their first corner of the game, Luton. What can they do from this position? It's actually the first corner of the game for either side. On the left-hand side it will be. It'll be Alfie Doughty to take. Be a left-footed out-swinging corner. Whipped in by Doughty. Flicked on by Morris. And that one's just gone. Kind of ballooned over the bar and behind for a goal kick. Actually doesn't connect with his head. It looks like his right shoulder's what the ball connects with. But would have been some goal if it had went in. But from that position it was very unlikely. But again, seeing Luton just a few cracks in this Spurs team at the moment. We knew that would come about. We knew that that would appear. Luton would get a bit more of the ball, but so far they haven't made anything with it. Madison very deep there in the back line. Romero. Sarr. Heavy touch by Papasar. Kulishevsky under pressure. Sarr. Heavy first touch. Luton win it back. And they break down the left-hand side. Ogbene. Good challenge by Romero. Back to Mpanzu. Spreads it across. Lovely ball to find Brown. Brown trying to get past Adogi, but then Adogi does well to win it back. Now Madison. Kulishevsky on the run. But Kaminsky will just gather it in his own 18-yard box. Doughty has to go all the way back to his keeper. Kaminsky goes long. First header won by Carlton Morris, but the flag was up against him. In an offside position there, Carlton Morris. Well, quick look at the stats for the moment. 26.5 minutes gone. Luton have had 19% of the ball to Tottenham's 81%. Luton have had 2 shots, both off target. Spurs have had 8 shots, 2 on target, and 5 off target. And they've had an XG of 1.43. Luton's a 0.08. And Luton have had the only corner of the game, interestingly enough. We just seen that a few moments ago. Lovely from Mpanzu. Flays the ball in behind. Adebayo's made the run. But the flag will go up eventually. There was a hint of offside there against Elijah Adebayo. And that was the correct decision. Free kick given to Spurs. Rob Edwards really shouting the instructions at his players. Although he wouldn't be happy with the amount of chances they were giving up in the first 10, 15, 20, even 20 minutes. But the last 5 minutes, I'm sure he'd be much happier his side breaking up the play a bit more and starting to win the 50-50 duels and doing better against Spurs. They find that balance at the moment, it seems, but it just takes one lapse of concentration to really allow a quality team like Spurs in. Lockyer battling and forces Richarlison with the heavy touch out of play for a throw in to Luton. Still 0-0 in the game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough at the Stadium of Light this afternoon. In that one, around 29 minutes gone in that one, similar to this one. Burke. Adebayo with a flick on, but flick on goes straight across the sideline, touchline there, and Spurs will get the throw in again. Adogi to take. Down the line, the flick on actually from Mpanzu almost helps Spurs. Lockyer has to make a late challenge, does so well. Nakamba under pressure. Pape Sarr with a burst of pace. Sarr on the edge of the box, flicks it round. Kulishevsky with a finish, just wide. I think it might have been a fingertip save by Thomas Kaminsky, but Spurs just overloading Luton again. Nakamba loses out to Papasar, who had a burst of pace, just flicks it round the Luton defender, finds it to Kulishevsky on the right hand side, who just tries to slot it into the far left corner, and a fantastic dive and save by Thomas Kaminsky. Fingertips, parries it wide for the corner. Massive. Big moments like that. Madison to take the first Spurs corner of the game. In swinging corner right in. Headed out and wide by a Spurs player in Richarlison. So goal kick Luton. All comes to nothing that. After their completely dominant and unopposed first 20 minutes, Spurs, they will be slightly disappointed that they haven't taken the lead here. The chances that they had earlier on, they should definitely have at least one goal, probably 2 or 3 even with the chances they've had. But a mix of poor finishing and a good save from Thomas Kaminski on one of them as well, 2 of them actually, has denied Spurs an opener here. Luton have had half chances, if that, at the moment, but I'm sure Rob Edwards will be slightly appeased that after that very open and vulnerable spell in the game that they haven't conceded. Here is Nakamba, picks up from the Udogie header. Spurs can't win it back. Lovely feet by Ogbene in the Spurs box. Out wide for Doughty with a cross. The cross is a bit too deep and the Spurs keeper Vicario will pick it up with ease. Richarlison under pressure there, but find the ball to Romero. Bissouma misplacing a pass, but a loose first touch now picked up by Madison on the break, being held to there by Mpanzu. Referee surely should give a free kick there. Indeed, he does. John Brooks, Nakamba just getting a proper hold of James Madison the whole way through as he was running through, and just too much there from marvellous Nakamba. Dragging at the shirt of Madison, and a free kick for Spurs then. In a very good position. I have to say about, and there's not many there's not lines to kind of determine how many yards this is out here. Probably around about 25, maybe 26, 27, something like that. 25 to 27 yards, I would say, out here. This free kick is fairly central, bit to the right. Bissouma, Porro and Madison all over it. Looks to be Madison that's readying up to take it. Whether he will go straight to goal, get it up and down, be some skill, and it will be Madison. Madison with the right foot right across, and just too high from Madison. Just got it up, but couldn't get it back down in time. It looked like Kaminski had it covered if it did fall in time, but just too much height on that one from James Madison, and well dealt with. Ultimately, anyway. That's their 11th shot of the game, Spurs, that James Madison free kick, so they can't say they haven't had the chances to score, but chances don't always guarantee you goals because you're coming up against good players. Richarlison goes down, gets the free kick off his counterpart number 9, Colton Morris, and Morris goes into the book here. See this again, Richarlison and Morris both going for a header. Morris gets up ahead of him. I think that's a very harsh one from the referee. Morris and Richarlison both going for the ball. Morris is trying to get up there. He does get ahead of him. Gets up ahead of Richarlison, and a kind of an elbow that he uses to get up kind of taps Richarlison on the head. But it's not by no fault of his own. He's gone up and getting the ball. He's right to win the ball, but he's been penalised by the referee here, Carlton Morris, and he is the second player to go into the book, the second Luton player into the book. Van de Ven. Madison coming deeper. Taken out there by Adebayo. Another late challenge. Madison's not happy with that one. A bit of frustration maybe from Elijah Adebayo. Long ball from the back, trying to find the run of Udogie there, who'd made the run. And Reece Burke getting the clearance, but throw in for Spurs. Richarlison thought he was going to take it there. Leaves it for Udogie. Udogie to take on the left. Richarlison. Couldn't get past Reece Burke. Another Spurs throw in. Coming up to the last 10 minutes of the first half. First half, it's actually flew by. Udogie finds Richarlison again on the byline, but lovely from Mpanzu to break it away, but cleared away really, really good. I thought the referee giving a free kick there, but the Luton fans were just cheering the endeavour from their side. Not giving up. Although that clearance from Mpanzu stripped back into Spurs possession. Here's Van de Ven again. Bissouma. Mickey Van de Ven. Romero. Pedro Porro. Maddison back in the defence at the moment, James Maddison. Shows you he has to come way deep to win the ball and have a bit of possession, try and get Spurs forward here, but press from Luton is starting to work. Morris putting pressure on Porro, has to go back to Vicario. Udogie. Bissouma. Son on the left hand side, he's having to come deep as well. Spurs just having the ball at the back at the moment. Nice turn from Bissouma in the middle. Bissouma on the run. Down the left is Richarlison who picks it up. Up against Burke. Flicks inside. Finds Udogie. And trying to find the pass of Son, but it does fall to Udogie again. Plays it across. Richarlison was in the box there, but Luton getting bodies in the way. Udogie still has it. Back to Bissouma. Across to Sarr. Out to the right hand side is Porro. Porro looking for the cross, blocked by Ogbene, and then Doughty picks it up, feeds it out wide for Ogbene, who can go on the run down the left flank, and will win Luton a throw-in. Again, better from Luton, getting into shape, getting deep, and getting bodies in the way of the Spurs players, stopping them having that space that they were so accustomed to in the first 20 minutes of the game. Working it out from themselves, playing it out and winning themselves a throw-in, which they take down the left. Flicked on into the boxes at a Bayo, but there was offside flag up in there, so Spurs will get the free kick. Spurs having the ball then again. Let me just tell you what's coming up then. Premier League Sunday, 2 huge games in the Premier League tomorrow. This is massive. Premier League Sunday, Brighton against Liverpool from the Amex at 2 before we head to the Emirates for one of the massive games. Arsenal against Manchester City at the Emirates. That's next week, 4:30. Or next week, tomorrow, 4:30. On Premier League Sunday. Just a free kick here for Luton, given away by Yves Bissouma, who's just been booked here by the referee for that challenge on Chidozie Ogbene. So he's also gone into the book now, Bissouma. And now Luton have a free kick inside the Spurs half. A set piece for them to deliver. Doughty to take. Very high line. Deep one to the back post. Flicked on. Falls to Adebayo. Tries to flick it. Oh! And it's in by Lockyer. Has they got it? There's a foul somewhere. The ball's in the net, but there's 2 Luton players down. I've no idea what's happened. We're going to see the replay of this, but there was... I want to see what the hell's going on. Luton have put the ball in the net. We will see if that's a goal in a moment. So Alfie Doughty whips the ball in. There's no offside in there, I would think. It's flicked on. As a man goes down, I think it's Morris. Adebayo flicks it. A Spurs player goes down, then it bounces off the post. It is a slight push from Adebayo to get Romero off the ball and hits the post, and then Lockyer's there to try and head it in, which he does, but the VAR have ruled it out The referee had given it off on the field as no goal because Romero was pushed by Adebayo. And the VAR have kind of ratified that and said that's the correct decision. Which, when you see on the replay, you can see Elijah Adebayo just really shoves Christian Romero out of the way to get the touch on the ball. And if he does a bit better, a bit cuter with it, it isn't so blatantly obvious, and maybe he could have got away with it, but far too blatant that. And Tom Lockyer does really, really well. He also takes a foot to the face, it seems, Tom Lockyer, putting his kind of body on the line, really, to try and get Luton ahead. But after all that, there is no goal for Luton. They had enough. That will give them a lot of confidence, though, the fact that they could find the ball in. I mentioned a Luton player went down from the first header. It was Carlton Morris. He's just getting a bit of treatment. It seems maybe there's a bit of blood there. Seems to be. No, we're just awaiting on Carlton Morris. He's receiving treatment at the moment. Once that is completed, once he's back to his feet now, we will then restart this game. Back at 0-0, and Spurs will have a free kick in their own 18-yard box. But that's where we stand at the moment. 0-0. Sunderland and Middlesbrough at the moment is also the same scoreline, goalless there at the Stadium of Light. Morris has just received his treatment. Seems to be a bit of blood around his eye area, nose, something around that area. So that means Spurs will have a free kick. He will go off the field, Morris, momentarily, and will be waved back on. Still holding kind of like a covering on his eye-nose area, so we'll see what happens at that. But Spurs back on the way then. Maddison. Luton down to 9 at the moment with Lockyer off and Morris not waved back on, so two players not been brought back on after their injuries. And now there's an issue here. And they're both back on. So call of handball was there in there from Chidozie Ogbene. I'll see this again. It does come off the inner arm of Ogbene, but that's not a handball. Just bouncing up. He has his arm tucked in. Nothing in that. And Spurs will have the throw in on the right hand side from that Luton clearance. Both Luton players back onto the pitch, Lockyer and Morris. Ball in behind. Morris still holding something to his nose, but he's thrown that away now, trying to press Christian Romero, but Romero does well to spin away from the Luton number 9. Maddison. Bissouma. Breaking it up again was Alfie Doughty. Puts it out for a Spurs throw. Well, if they get to half time 0-0 Luton, this will be a massive positive for them. They have 2 minutes plus any additional time, which you probably will have with that injury stoppage. A couple minutes. If they get in at half time without having conceded, they'll be very, very happy. Van der Ven. Saar. Gives it away though. Burke with the clearance. Taken down by Morris, who felt he was shoved there, but the referee said no. Spurs have it again. Kulishevsky now back to Romero. Morris trying to break it apart. Romero hits it straight at Morris, but he will pick it back up again, Romero. You see it. It's his nose. A lot of blood on his nose. Still holding that kind of tissue to his nose at the moment. Spurs coming down the left. Here's Son. Plays it in field. Charlison. Trying to flick it on. Maddison in the box. That's good covering and good defending in there by Mads Jolanderson. Puts it behind for the Spurs corner. Got the numbers in the box now. Luton defending in those tight spaces. Spurs will have a free kick, or a corner though. A set piece to take for Maddison on the left hand side. Whips it in. Flicked on and away by Luton. Reece Burke there heading that one clear. Basuma will pick it up again. Porro lifting one in. Madison trying to get on the end of it, but in the process he pushes a Luton player out of the way, and that'll be a free kick to the home side. So got a bit tetchy. Bit edgy at the moment, this game. And we've just surpassed the 45-minute mark. And we're waiting, and we've just had the confirmation that there will be 3 additional minutes at the end of the half. So 3 minutes for Luton to hold on. If they can get in half-time 0-0, that'll be a huge positive for them. Kaminski to clear the ball from that goal kick then. That free kick, sorry. Trying to win it was Adebayo. Jacob Brown as well, but the last touch is off Brown, and that'll be a Spurs throw. You can see the hard work and endeavour that Luton are putting in to try and win the ball up high up against Spurs. Here's Papsar. Now finds Yves Basuma in a bit of space. Benny tried to close him down, but Basuma's pace beats him. Kulishevsky. Papsar finds Madison. Quick football from Spurs. Luton having the spaces covered for the moment. Basuma has to go out wide to Kulishevsky again. All the way back to Romero on the halfway line. No space opening up there. Luton have closed off those spaces, it seems. Van de Ven though, trying to burst forward. Mickey Van de Ven finds an opening. Richarlison with a cross. Son in the box, flicks it back. Madison with a strike, wide. Another huge opportunity for Spurs, not taken. And it's James Madison this time. Son cuts it back on the edge of the box. Madison takes a first touch, sets up for the right-footed finish, trying to curl it into the corner, but didn't get the curl on the ball anywhere near enough that he needed, and well wide of the post for the goal kick. Well, Ange Postecoglou will be certainly disappointed. He'd be happy with the chances his side are creating, but he'd be very disappointed with the finishing. And Rob Edwards will be certainly happier, the two managers at half-time, if this is the scoreline. Although they've given away a ball on a post there, Luton. Doughty finds Kulishevsky now. Does Spurs have it on the right-hand side? Kulishevsky cuts it back, trying to find the cross, but Nakamba clears it away. Picked up by Romero. Here's Pedro Porro, finding that space in the middle. Udogie also coming in field, but that's intercepted. Adebayo on the ball. Stole away by Madison. Madison trying to burst forward. No foul, says the referee, as Son picks it up. And Panzu trying to carry it away, but stolen away from him by Basuma. Basuma on the edge trying to burst forward, but he's taken out that time. And actually, Basuma's gone down of his own volition. The referee felt it was a dive, so Basuma's off. Yves Basuma took a dive on a yellow card, and Ange Postecoglou has 10 men. My goodness me. Yves Basuma has just been sent off, and he's dived so blatantly. The referee spotted it right away, and Yves Basuma is off. My goodness me. Wow. And now the Luton fans are waving goodbye to Yves Basuma. Yves Basuma unnecessarily diving. He was on a yellow card, and there was only going to be one result. A second yellow and an early shower for the Spurs midfielder. And maybe this day is turning out to be maybe Luton's day here. They've held on in this first 45 so far, this first half. And now Spurs coming out in the second half will have one less player on the pitch. And Basuma having that long walk down that tunnel on the far side. And Luton will have the free kick to take then. So So a lot of thinking for Ange Postecoglou to do at half-time. Long from Kaminski. Bouncing straight out of play. But that will end the first half. A first half where Spurs have dominated for so much of it. So controlled and having so much of the attack in play. But when you don't take your chances, Luton have the chances out the other way. They couldn't capitalise either. Neither side could really get their finishing going today in that first half. It ends up that Spurs will be the most unhappy of the two teams because they're now down to 10. Yves Bissouma blatantly diving while he's on a yellow card, and that sees the half-time score: Luton 0, Spurs 0. Spurs down to 10. A big second half to come.
He should have scored. The second he should have scored on the left of the area, just trying to curl it into the bottom right corner, saved by Kaminski. Pedro Porro through on goal, wide of the right hand post. Son 12 yards out. As a few people are just walking across the pitch getting wet from the sprinklers in front of us here, always amusing. Son 12 yards out, saved again by Kaminski, who then denied Kulusevski. He's made 3 good saves in this half, Kaminski, to keep his side in it. But the team who've had the ball in the net, Luton, Adebayo though with a foul on Porro as he played it onto the post. Lockyer headed it in, but that one was disallowed then right on half time, and this makes it very interesting. Yves Bissouma sent off for 2 yellow cards. Nathan Jones, what a half of football.
Yes, that everything bar a legitimate goal, isn't it? I think Tottenham could be ruining those early chances that they've missed. If they had a bit of a comfort zone here, then it'd be a lot easier game. Now it's so evenly poised. 10 men. Luton will come out. They'll want to smell blood. And I'm sure there's going to be chances second half.
I mean, the last time I was here was the Wolves game. Identical situation. Wolves had a player sent off close to half time in the first half, and it's the same has happened. They didn't take advantage of it last time. I mean, what will Rob Edwards be saying now? What would you be saying to your players now?
I think there's an opportunity to learn from obviously the Wolves game. Just a little bit more composure, a little bit more quality in the final third. They'll get chances this half. I'm sure Tottenham will get 1 or 2 chances, but I think Luton will get chances. Attacking the Kenny and the Kenny end, and it will be an interesting half. And just have to learn from that Wolves game. Show that bit of composure, show that little bit more quality to get the goal. And if they get the goal, I'm sure they'll win the game.
Yeah, and I wonder if Yves Bissouma will be apologising to his teammates at the moment in the dressing room, because half time, Luton 0, Tottenham 0.
Yves Bissouma's obviously been brilliant in possession. His adjusted interception numbers are great, but he's picked up 6 yellow cards in the Premier League this season, more than any other player.
All for different things, or is there a theme?
I think there's quite a few tactical fouls in there. I just went back to look at his last red card. That was actually in 2020 September against Newcastle United, where he caught someone with his heel. Not a great challenge, but obviously I was looking if there's any relevance to today. No, there isn't, but it was 3 years ago.
They've had a red card at the Stadium of Light as well. Chris Coles.
Yeah, very feisty end to this half as well. It's 0-0, Sunderland and Middlesbrough, but Sunderland are down to 10 men. Dan Neil sent off for 2 yellow cards. The first, the late challenge. The second, for what looks like dissent towards referee Jared Gillett, following the most innocuous of circumstances. Off went Neil, a touchline scrap ensued, and it belies what had been quite a dull first half. 0-0, Patrick Roberts the best chance for Sunderland, couldn't finish. A lovely run from the right wing. Middlesbrough did hit the post through Josh Coburn, goalmouth scramble. Coburn couldn't quite force it through, but that red card has just made life a little interesting in this Weir Tees derby. Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Oxford 1, Bristol Rovers 0 at half-time in League One. Details from Aaron Paul.
Yeah, the home side ahead, but it hasn't been the easiest of rides. Bristol Rovers had held their own, peppering the Oxford goal on multiple occasions, with James Beadle pulling off some stunning saves from Aaron Collins and Luke McCormick. But it is Oxford who have the lead. Ruben Rodriguez with a gorgeous dink ball over the Rovers defence. Billy Bowden controlled it on his chest and smashed home on the volley. Rovers thought they had an equaliser. Aaron Collins involved again. He saw his low strike ruled out for offside. This game has been balanced, but it is Oxford who lead Bristol Rovers at the break by a goal to nil.
There's one game in the Women's Championship this afternoon that kicked off at 1 o'clock, and it's Sheffield United 0, London City Lionesses 0. To the Super League semi-final, Wigan Hull KR. Matt Newsom.
Yeah, Wigan 18, Hull KR 6. Finally a response, an error from Wigan inside their own 10. Abasmiski spilling it. Elliot Minchella going over, converted by Brad Schneider. That's given the Robins a bit of hope, but at the moment it's still Wigan in control. Wigan 18, Hull KR 6.
South Africa are currently 383 for 4 after 47 overs at the Men's Cricket World Cup. So 3 overs to go there against Sri Lanka. That run rate for them is just over 8. Earlier, Bangladesh beat Afghanistan by 6 wickets. Wigan Hull KR is on the BBC Sport website if you want to listen to it. The cricket is on Sports Extra, and here on 5 Live, Carl Hartley has your news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Rishi Sunak says Israel has an absolute right to defend itself after the country's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country is at war. It follows a series of attacks by Palestinian militants. Local media say more than 700 people have been injured and at least 40 people have died. Israel have responded with airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, killing at least 2 Palestinians. Our reporter Rushdie Abu Alouf is in Gaza City.
Well, it's still limited, the Israeli response, about 10-15 Israeli airstrike, comparing with the thousands of rockets fired by Hamas and continued to be fired. So far, Hamas radio said about 6,000 to 7,000 rockets have been fired. This is by far the most significant and serious escalation of this conflict for the last 17 years when Hamas took over Gaza.
Hamas has released a video claiming it's captured Israeli soldiers during the offensive. The video has been shared on social media, but BBC News has so far been unable to verify it. The UN has called for an immediate halt to the violence. The BBC News website is following this story with the latest breaking lines and detailed analysis. In other news, Labour's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner says her number one focus is in the government will be to unlock more affordable homes. The party has promised to give local authorities greater powers to negotiate with property firms and build in areas where housing is needed. The Met Police say 335 officers are waiting to face gross misconduct hearings, and there's a significant backlog that's increased since last year. These are disciplinary cases where an officer has been accused of a serious breach of professional behaviour and could be sacked if gross misconduct is proven. And people in Scotland are being urged by police to avoid travel unless it is absolutely necessary because of heavy rain and flooding. Rail services have been disrupted and cancelled.
Rugby World Cup 2023 on 5 Live, Radio 5 Sports Extra and the BBC Sport website.
And Ireland have pulled off a famous win. They've beaten South Africa.
It's going to be a huge score here for England.
Fantastic nails away, and Scotland have the final try.
Might be it, that is it. Wales have won. They have blown Australia away.
Rugby World Cup 2023.
The William Webb Ellis Trophy.
Get the Rugby Union Daily. Download and subscribe now.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This
is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Let's get news of that big South Africa total then against Sri Lanka at the Men's Cricket World Cup. Dan Norcross.
389 for 5. There are still 16 balls to be bowled. This is the first time in World Cup history that 3 players have reached a century. Quinton de Kock with 100, Rassie van der Dusen with 108, and Aidan Markram, he's just got out for 106 from 54 balls. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka have also bowled their overs very slowly, so they're going to have to bring fielders inside the ring. The highest score in World Cup history is 417. That's under massive threat. 393 for 5. 15 balls to be bowled. The wheels have fallen off Sri Lanka here. So South Africa look like they're about to set a new record.
Sports Extra, if you want to listen to that, let's go to the Rugby Union World Cup. Wales against Georgia is a 2 o'clock kickoff. If they get a point, Wales, they will top the group, although they have been forced into a late change, Gareth Lewis.
Yeah, they have, chappers. Gareth Anscombe, their fly half, has trudged gingerly off down the tunnel. Looks like he's pulled his hamstring in the warm-up. He was superb against Australia a couple of weeks back, and he cannot catch a break. He suffered an almost career-threatening knee injury 2 years ago. Really back on form against the Wallabies, but now out. It looks as if Dan Biggar may well come onto the bench with Sam Costello starting. Biggar not fully fit either because he hurt his chest in that win over the Australians. It should be fairly straightforward for Wales. Bear in mind, Georgia did beat them last November. They're into the knockout stages already. They'd like to finish top, but that's a big, big worry at fly half for the later stages of the tournament if Anscombe's injury is serious.
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? I mean, it's presumably if Anscombe's injury is serious, it's whether they can get Biggar right for next weekend.
Yeah, I think they really would not want to play Dan Biggar at all if they can help it this afternoon, chap, as he looked in all sorts of trouble actually after the Australia game, so really hanging his arm really gingerly by his side as he came off the pitch. I think it's damage limitation then for Wales this afternoon. They've been really lucky with injuries so far this tournament. Get your big players, your key players through this match, and then try and get the medical team onto Gareth Anscombe in this coming week. But hamstrings are notoriously fiddly and difficult to get right quickly, aren't they?
Yes, well, I'm assuming I have no medical background, but yes, I would agree with you on that. Gareth, thank you very much. Gareth Lewis will keep us updated on Wales against Georgia. It's Luton 0, Tottenham 0 at half-time in the Premier League. Yves Bissouma sent off Ange Postecoglou's men. Although Højbjerg at the moment is going through rather a vigorous warm-up at half-time, so you'd expect Højbjerg to come on for the second half. We'll be back at Kenilworth Road shortly. Let's head to Qatar next. Max Verstappen could win the Formula One World Drivers' Championship for the third time this evening. He's on pole for the Grand Prix tomorrow, but he could wrap it up tonight in the sprint race. Rosanna Tennant is in Doha for us.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, it could come down to this evening's sprint race for Max Verstappen to take his third world title. He needs to make sure his teammate Sergio Perez doesn't score more than him. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose 6 points to Perez. But at the moment, he seems in the form of his life, as he has done all season long. Joining me to talk through our Sprint Saturday in Qatar is our lead commentator Harry Benjamin and racing driver Alex Brundle. And Harry, he is just so brilliant, Max Verstappen. Fastest in the practice session we had yesterday. Qualifying, he was on pole for the Grand Prix that we'll have tomorrow. It seems like a dead cert almost that he'll leave the track here in Qatar this evening as a 3-time world champion, doesn't it?
Bulletproof, dominant, consistent, you name it, and he should wrap it up in the sprint.
Welcome back to Premier League Live here on this Saturday afternoon. Match 1 of the weekend, opening your Premier League weekend at Kenilworth Road, where Luton currently are 0-0 with Spurs at half-time. Spurs will have one less player coming onto the pitch in the second half, with Yves Bissouma being dismissed with a second yellow card in the first half. And they're going to make a change as well. You can just see there, Ange Postecoglou has made an alteration at half-time. I was talking about what kind of things will he come up with to try and help his team out for this second half. Well, Luton need to take the most of this opportunity. Not often do you come up against 10 men in your up against you, especially against big sides like Tottenham, who are unbeaten to start the season. Luton need to take this opportunity with both hands and grasp it like it means so much to them. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're almost at 21,000. It would be greatly appreciated if you could get us there this afternoon. Right then, we're about to get back underway for the second half. Spurs did make a change. Richarlison has left the pitch and he has been replaced by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. So they've sacrificed a striker, a forward Spurs, for a midfielder. And we're back underway then. Luton get us back underway for the second half. Kaminski firing a long ball forward. Adebayo holding the ball up here on the right hand side. Burke, nice ball. And Panzu trying to follow it up, but the ball's stolen away by Jacob Brown, and then the Spurs play it forward, and Son can't gather it before it runs out of play for a Luton throw-in. Back to Kaminski. Fires the ball long, does Kaminski. Flicked on, but defended by Brown as Luton pick it back up. Have it at the back. That's nicely worked here. Brown flicks one into the box. Taken away just about by Romero's header. Brought down by Kulishevsky. Nakamba battling to win it back off Dejan Kulishevsky. But Kulishevsky holds strong and makes the run forward. Now Son forward, trying to flick it on for Madison, but Burke is in the way. And Kaminski gives it out wide. But that's better from Luton. Holding the ball up, trying to put the pressure instantly on the Spurs defence. Brown plays it forward. Ogbene plays it across. Ogbene out of Bale! What an opportunity! Elijah Adebayo, just wide of the post. Down the right hand side come Luton. Udogie wants the free kick. It's played across by Jacob Brown right across the box. Adebayo at the back post. Just has to flick it past Vicario. He completely misses it. Spurs get away with one there and it ends up wide, but that's a massive opportunity missed by Luton. Talked about Spurs missing big opportunities in the first half and costing them really coming into this second, but Luton have to make the most of their chances. Here's Adebayo for the home side. Up against Porro, and Porro trying to win the battle. Had the last touch there, did the Spurs right back, and that will allow Luton to have the throw in on the left hand side. Alfie Doughty to take. Might go for the long throw here. He's decided not to. Nakamba back to Doughty. Doughty trying to cross it, but it will blocked by Porro and out for another Spurs throw in. Or Luton throw in, sorry. Ready to take another throw in. Doughty, long through this time, flicked on by Lockyer. Cleared away by Romero. Massive that. Kaminski picks it up just inside his own half. Flicks it forward. Lovely ball forward. Morris and Brown to chase, but too much pace on that one, and it's well seen behind by Destiny Udogie. Goal kick to Spurs. Just seeing the replay of that chance for Elijah Adebayo. What an opportunity that is. The Luton fans thought that they would go 1-0 up. Everyone in the stadium surely would have thought that was a goal, but just couldn't connect with it. Adebayo, and that's a Bad miss. Son. Nice work from Sar to hold it up. Kulishevsky at the byline, cuts it back. Sar trying to flick it behind into the goal, but well carried away. Straight out of play though. Son was waiting there as well. Sar got a bit too excited of where he was, but didn't work with it well. Not the right technique there from Pap Sar. And they need to have that belief, Luton, in this second half. They can go and win it. You know, it's well within their grasp. They have the extra player on the pitch, and despite Spurs having probably, well, on paper, the better quality, so far in that first half, 11v11 for the vast majority of it, Spurs couldn't make it count. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Tottenham didn't make it count in that first half. Now Luton have to. Porro to take this throw in for Tottenham. High up on the right hand side. And they win another throw in off of Nakamba there. Spurs. Throw in comes straight off Burke that time, and Spurs will have a corner. So 5 minutes gone of the second half, with Spurs down to 10, and they're holding in there quite well at the moment. They'll have a corner here with James Maddison. Might give them a bit of positivity and a bit of confidence. Looking for the right delivery. Let's see what James Maddison can do here. From the right hand side, from the corner. Right footed out swinger, whipped in, flicked onto the front post, headed away, and the follow up with Højbjerg took a deflection off Burke. It did. It will be another corner to Spurs. Didn't connect, didn't strike it with proper power or pace behind it, did Højbjerg. We've seen him strike from distance and put in some rockets, but that was not one of them. It deflected off Reece Burke, and Maddison will have another chance to deliver it, but from the opposite side this time. The left-hand side. Bit of pushing and shoving in there. The referee's actually going over to the corner flag to make sure Maddison hasn't overstepped the quadrant with the ball. Just having a check on that one. Maddison trying to get as much room as possible. Not much room to take. Corner whipped in. Right across. And I think it's flicked on by headed away by a Luton player, but goes behind for another corner. 3 successive corners for Spurs now. Kulishevsky to take it short this time. Different technique. Finds Maddison in the box. Maddison cuts it back. Flicked on and in! Lovely goal. And Mickey van de Ven's the finisher. They changed the technique, and it worked a treat for Spurs. Kulishevsky to Maddison. Maddison cuts it back, and Mickey van de Ven to fire it past Thomas Kaminski in the Luton goal. They have one less player, but they're making the chances that they have count, and they get the first goal of the game, Spurs. See it again, a fantastic technique. Kulishevsky finds Maddison. Maddison just eases past Alfie Doughty. It's far too easy to get past him at the byline. Speeds past him, cuts it back, and it just meets the left foot of Mickey van de Ven, who cannot miss from that position. Slots it into the goal, past Thomas Kaminski. Side-footed, not an easy one. He was a bit of ahead of it, and it's a lovely finish by Mickey van de Ven. And there was conversations at half-time. Would Spurs hold on in this game and try and nick a goal? But they've done well, and have taken the lead in this game. At half-time it looked dire straits for them, in a difficult position, but they've actually taken the lead, which not many would have predicted at half-time, although their quality has shown itself. What is Luton's response then? Brine. Ogbene now. Across to Nakamba. By Jacob Brown. Back to Nakamba. Took a heavy touch there. Marvellous Nakamba, and that'll be a Spurs free kick. It's a late one. Not the best of challenges there for Marvellous Nakamba. So a free kick will go Tottenham's way. So 1-0 to Spurs then. That challenge from Nakamba. Tried to recover the ball and just a late challenge on Pedro Porro. And will allow Spurs to have a free kick then. On the edge of their own box. Well, James Maddison, an assist for that goal. He's now at the top of the assister charts in the league. 5 assists this season. Quite a few players there. Kieran Trippier, Mo Salah, Pedro Neto, all on 4 assists. Maddison top of the bunch there for setting up goals. Incredible how he's settled in here at Spurs this season. Absolute incredible signing. Star player indeed. He's made such a difference to this Tottenham team. Porro tried to feed a ball through the middle, but Kaminski will just pick that loose ball up. Throws it out to his centre-back there. Ogbene gets past Udogie. Here's Chidozie Ogbene. Trying to get past Van de Ven, but Van de Ven with a challenge. Puts it out for the Luton throw-in on the right-hand side. Nakamba. Tom Lockyer now. Back to Kaminski. Out to the right-hand side from Kaminski. Finds the wide ball. Trying to be fed in by Mpanzu. Flicked on by Adebayo. Doughty! Big chance. I think it took us. Did it take a deflection? Was it Porro that deflected it? Alfie Doughty free at the back post. Switch ball. Flicked in. Alfie Doughty connecting with it beautifully with his left. And it is a deflection off Porro. Or is it? It looked like from that angle it was a deflection, but there was no touch on it from the other angle, so goal kick, per finish. That's another massive opportunity for Luton. But should do so much better from that position. And they've a man down here as well. Manuel Anderson has just gone down. He's felt something in his right leg, so we will see what comes of that. Still 0-0 in the game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. Sunderland also down to 10 men. Dan Neil was booked for the second time. A second yellow card for him in the first half of that one, just at the end of the first half. But it is still 0-0 there at the moment. Well, don't forget, another Premier League game coming your way this evening, indeed. Crystal Palace from Sellers Park. Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. That'll be a really good matchup in that one. We'll see what happens at Selhurst in South London as Palace take on Forest. 5:30 this afternoon on LFS. And of course, this is the final weekend before the October international break, of course. And when we come back, what a cracker of a game to get back underway after the international break. The Merseyside derby at Anfield on the 21st of October. 2 weeks today. We will have that game for you. Nakamba trying to play the ball forward, but Spurs break it apart again. Luton do win it back through Doughty. Brown, Nakamba again, heavy touch, and then Porro tried to clear it away, but it comes off Nakamba and goes out for the Spurs throw-in. And they're going to make a change here, Luton as well. Anderson, after receiving that treatment, will not return to action, and he is being replaced. So Anderson off, and Teden Mengi is his replacement. So Luton having to make a substitution there through injury. Kulishevsky just muscled to the ground there by, I think it was Mengi initially, it was. Mengi, his first involvement, was giving away a free kick. It's a long ball from the back. Kuliszewski tried to make the run in behind, and then Mengi just takes him out. And Panzu brought down, but plays the ball forward, and Van de Ven got the better of Adebayo there. Back to Vicario. Romero. Trying to link up there was Papsar. It's given away. Here's Adebayo. Finds Carlton Morris. Morris in the box. Carlton Morris left-footed. Big save by Vicario. Much better from Luton. Carlton Morris tries to come across goal. It's a very, very tight angle for him. Left-footed right across goal, but Vicario was there at the front post to save it and clear it away. Whipped in from the right-hand side this time. Doughty straight across into the hands of Vicario. The flag went up for offside initially, though. Oh, and Adebayo and Romero trying to square up to each other there. We've had 2 goals in quick succession in the game at the stadium. I mentioned Sunderland were down to 10. They're now 2 goals down as well. Sam Greenwood and Matt Crooks for Middlesbrough have the visitors 2 to the good there. 2 goals in the space of a minute or two to have Middlesbrough in a very comfortable lead there. Well, Carlton Morris's chance is a huge one, probably the most dangerous player for Luton in terms of quality and finishing. But he's had very little to feed off today, Carlton Morris, but sure, as time goes on, maybe he will get a few more chances. Doughty trying to win it back. Last touch is off a Luton player, and Spurs will get the throw in. I'm sure he's in a better mood now, Ange Postecoglou, than he was around about 20 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago, more or less. Just at half time when his team went down to 10, and he had to kind of come up with an idea of how they were going to work out, how they would play the game in the second half with one less player. And they've made it work so far, and have put themselves ahead, even better than what they probably were hoping for. Luton sloppy there, and Panzu's pass to Burke was far too was misplaced and straight out for a Spurs throw. Son Udogie falls back to Papsar now. Porro with a strike, and tried to go with a real top class one outside of the right foot. He tried to strike it. What a strike that is, but it's just gone wide. Almost sneaking in that left hand post, but just wide of the left side and bound for a goal kick. But Pedro Porro, real top skill there. Clearance from Kaminski. Spurs win the first header, Luton will win the throw-in. Playing a bit higher up, you can see Luton in this second half. They're getting more of the ball. Of course, they have the man advantage, obviously, but they're showing more attacking intent in this second half. Adebayo's just gone down there. He's won a free kick for his team. See it again. The challenge. It's Udogie. Oh, high boot from Udogie there. Lucky to not get any more than just a free kick against them there, Destiny Udogie. So free kick for Luton. They need to make set pieces count. Rob Edwards in deep conversations with his assistant coaching staff on that sideline, on the sidelines, on the bench. Left-footed cross in, headed away by Udogie, I think. And that's what bounced behind. Thought it was going to go for a corner, but it didn't. It went wide for a throw-in. Udogie done well there defensively. Waiting for Doughty to come over to take this throw-in then for Luton. On the left-hand side. Take it short, and Panzu. Back to Doughty. Doughty looking for the cross. Right across the box. Header at the back post over the bar. Jacob Brown that time. They cannot find the back of the net for the life of them here at Luton. Fantastic cross by Alfie Doughty. Free header for Jacob Brown at the back post. Has to just head it down into the net, but doesn't get above the ball, and that's another massive opportunity. Another one gone a-begging for Luton. Giving up too many chances here at the moment. It's a free kick given against Luton. Or given against Spurs, sorry. Luton will get the free kick. And then they're going to make a lot of changes here, it seems. 3 changes for Luton that looks to be coming on. And with 26 or so minutes plus additional time to go, Luton have the extra man, but are a goal down against Spurs. They want to make these changes to try and change the outcome of this game. Mengi does well to win it back. Nice ball in behind. Here's Adebayo. Did he run offside? No, the flag stayed down for the moment. That's really good defending by Romero, though. Holding off Adebayo, winning it back, and feeding the ball out from the back. That's really nice from Spurs. Sarr runs into trouble. Nakamba wins it back, looking to whip one across. Headed away by Adogi. Picked up by Ogbene. Ogbene with a cross. In this time. Doughty at the back post takes it down. Doughty. Blocked by Porro, and then Nakamba across. Ogbene can't finish either. Cleared away by Van de Ven. So many opportunities for Luton. None of them finding the back of the net yet. Spurs have the ball in the Luton half now. Looking to take the pressure off themselves. There was a slight check for a possible penalty there for Luton, but it's quickly checked and nothing more doing there in terms of VAR intervention. Kulishevsky gets the ball on the right hand side and plays the ball off Lockyer and wins a throw in. Luton are about to make that triple change. Those triple changes then. They're ringing out the changes. Rob Edwards. The first one we'll see the Jacob Brown. He is leaving the pitch. He is being replaced by Luke Berry. That's one change. So Brown off, Berry on. The second substitution will be Tahith Chong will be coming on. And he will be replacing Mpanzu, I believe. And the third and final substitution will be Elijah Adebayo. He will be replaced by Colley Woodrow. So a triple change there. Mpanzu, Adebayo and Brown off, replaced by Chong, Berry and Woodrow. So attacking changes for Luton. It seems fresh legs up front to try and get them back into this game and back level even at the very least. Spurs win the throw in. Flicked forward by Porro. Cleared away by Lockyer. 2-on-2 at the back. Van de Ven misses his first touch. Flicked on by Morris. Here's Colley Woodrow. Couldn't gather it. Straight at Vicario. Wasn't the strike he would have wanted there, Colley Woodrow, but instantly involved. Now Spurs down the other end. Madison. Kulishevsky on the left. Broken up by Ogbene. Picked up by Adogi. Now Madison in the box. Trying to link up with Kulishevsky. And cleared away. And now Ogbene trying to force the run on the counter. Up against Højbjerg. Ogbene gets past him. Felt he was brought down, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg did commit the foul. It's a cynical one against Chidozie Ogbene, and that will be a free kick to Luton. And a yellow card for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Yeah. Something off that for the referee. Nowhere near the ball. It's a fantastic one. Link up between Morris and Woodrow initially. The ball flicked on. It was a 2-on-2. Morris flicked it on and Woodrow made the run in behind. He was well onside and he couldn't just get past the Spurs defender, and it put him off. He didn't get the connection he would have wanted, and the strike was straight at Vicario, who caught it with pretty much ease, really. They have a set piece here. They're looking to try and whip a ball in. There's a few different bodies in the box this time. Doughty with a free kick, back post. Too high. Carlton Morris was the man furthest to the opposing side there, and He couldn't get the header on it. Run for a Spurs throw-in, or Spurs goal kick, sorry. They've given it straight away again, Spurs. Sloppiness all around the pitch. Luton give it away far too easily again. Doughty this time. Doughty shouting at Chong there, but Chong, I think, done well to put it out of play. And we have games in the Premier League all coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Burnley against Chelsea, Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham, Sheffield United and Manchester United, Brentford, all coming up for you. All of those games at 3 o'clockers, and we'll get the full results of those at our 5:30 game between Palace and Forest this evening. We'll run you through the day's results later on this afternoon. Team news is just coming out from all those games as well. I'll give you some key details from the big games as well when we get a break in play. Lockyer defending well. Now he picks it up, trying to force them forward. Morris has the run, trying to get past Romero. Romero putting in a good challenge out for a Luton throw-in. The last man had to make the challenge and really did well there. Christian Romero. Luton have it at the back. Here's Tom Lockyer. Tedden Mengi. Back to Lockyer. Out wide to Burke. Down the right is Ogbene. Burke looking for the cross. Takes a deflection. Will be a Luton corner. Much better from Luton. Since those substitutions have been made, they've looked more threatening. Fresh legs up front, starting to cause the Spurs defenders a bit more issues as we enter the last 20 minutes of this game. They have the corner. And what can they do from this set piece? They've really made very little of their set pieces this afternoon. They're going to need to do something different here. Doughty with the corner. Left footed in, swinging corner. Morris wins it the first time, but half cleared by Spurs. Kulishevsky carrying it away now. Down the right hand side, but his ball to Udogie is intercepted by Tedden Mengi. And Luton have the ball back here. Kaminski. Nakamba out wide to Burke. Burke down the line. Finds Doughty. Doughty trying to take it to the Spurs defenders, and he will win another corner. Deflection off Pedro Porro that time. So corner to Luton. Much better. They know what they need to be doing and they're working it well, Luton. Ange Postecoglou's thinking about a few changes of his own at the moment. There's a third goal at the Stadium of Light and it's 3-0 to Middlesbrough now against 10-man Sunderland. Running riot there. Luton will be hoping to run riot against 10-man Spurs, but so far that hasn't kind of come to fruition. Doughty to take the corner again. Whips a ball in. Had it headed clear by Romero. Nakamba keeps it alive. Now Chong trying to cross. Thought he was going to go for the cross. He does the second time. Crosses it. Lovely cross. Taken down. Cuts it back. Ogbene with a strike blocked. Burke keeps it alive. Doughty. Just on the edge. Doughty with a strike. And not too far away. It took a deflection. Luton are building here. The momentum is growing. They're getting closer and closer, knocking on that door. Yet so far the door is holding firm of Spurs. Doughty tried to whip a strike into the top corner, but took a deflection and he will get the corner on the left-hand side to take. It's another set piece to fourth corner of the game. Luton, their third successive, really. Left-footed ball whipped in. Half cleared. Luton want a handball. The referee says no, waves it away. Spurs carry it away here. Madison. Good options here for Spurs. They have the bodies forward. Son's the only one in the box though, but Madison has to pick it up again. Edge is Højbjerg. Porro. Out wide to Son. Son on the right hand side. Beaten there by the substitution for Luton there. Luke Berry, who cleared it away. Picked up by Romero. Michael Oliver in VAR this afternoon and just checking that penalty shout, but he's cleared it again. Nothing really doing from that. No penalty to Luton. Here's Tahith Chong then. Switching the ball. Lovely switch ball. Finds Ogbeni on the far side on the right flank. Driving infield is Ogbeni up against Madison. Madison does really, really well to win it back, but is really closed in on his own final third, but he has so much composure and quality to see it out. Fantastic for Madison. Adogi. Højbjerg. Spurs just need to hold on, not take too many risks when they have the ball. Try and slow the game down as much as possible. An end-to-end game really suits Luton because they have the extra body. So free kick there given to Luton. Kuliszewski just a bit too much on that one. Try and win the header. Yeah, just seeing the replay of the penalty shout, it's similar to the one in the first half against Luton. It's not a handball. Straight at Adogi, and Adogi has his arm tucked in. There's nothing in that. They're going to make a double change here, Spurs. So that Ange Postecoglou's making changes then. Son and Madison coming off, so they're going for a more defensive approach in the last 15 minutes, a more solid approach. Double change then coming. Son and Madison off, and they're being replaced by Emerson Royal and Oliver Skipp. So Skipp and Royal on, Son and Madison off. We're going to give you updates from team news from the 3 o'clockers in the Premier League in just a moment when I have the chance. Should have a chance in a moment. Here's Ogbeni though for Luton. Berry now back to Ogbeni. Ogbeni lifts one into the box. Half cleared and then followed up by Højbjerg, who fires it long. Lockyer wins the first header. Doughty misses his header, but will win the ball. No, he won't win it. He thought he was going to win it, but then breaking away comes Spurs down the other end. I have to say, it's been awful trying to pick up the Spurs players' names and the numbers, because the numbers, it's like a darker purpley shirt with a black numbers. How am I ever meant to see who's playing and who is who? Awful all day. Emerson Royal, I could read that number. Luton have had more of the possession in the last 5 minutes. 58%, the Spurs is 42%. We're into the last, we're passed into the last 15 minutes then of this one, plus any additional time. I'm going to get team news from those other 3 o'clockers for you in a second. I'm just making sure I have the correct information, because this game's gone a bit flat at the moment. Here's Tahith Chong. All the way back are Luton. Doughty with a long ball forward, but that one's a bit overhit for anyone to chase. And Romero should recover. He thought he was going to let it run for the goal kick, but Luton, I think, will get a throw in, I believe. The officials have disagreed. I thought that was a last touch of Romero. Very much looked like it. They've given Spurs the throw in, the officials. Strange that. Team news from Old Trafford. And this is huge team news for Erik ten Hag's side. Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans are in defence for United this afternoon, alongside Lindelof and Dalot making up the back four. Casemiro, Mount, Amrabat midfield, with Fernandes and Højlund and Rashford in attack. For Brentford, Stratushka starts in goal. Ayer, Collins, Pinnock, Hickey in defence. Jensen, Norgard, Janelt in midfield, with Mbeumo, Vissa and Roerslev in attack. For Brentford. For Everton, Pickford, Young, Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Garner, Gay, Harrison, McNeil, Doucouré, Calvert-Lewin. And for Bournemouth, Neto in goal, Smith, Zabarnyi, Zanesi and Kerkez defence, Christie, Cook and Tavernier in midfield with Billing, Uatara and Solanke in attack. For Fulham against Sheffield United, Fulham's team is as follows: Leno, Castagna, Diop, Ream, Robinson, Iwobi, Palhinha, Pereira, Decordova, Reid, Vinicius and Willian. And Sheffield United's team: Foderingham, Ahmedhodzic, Basham, Trusty, Bogle, Hammer, Souza, Norwood, Thomas, Archer and McBurney. At Turf Moor, Burnley-Chelsea. Burnley team is as follows: Trafford, Vitinho, Aldakiel, De Croix, Taylor, Burge, Cullen, Brownhill, Audibert, Foster and Nadiashime. And I'll get the Chelsea team in a second as the cross is in. Doughty at the back post for Luton. Doughty covered over this time, breaks the cross, forces the clearance from Romero for the corner. The Chelsea team is as follows: Sanchez, Cucurella, Dizazi, Thiago Silva, Colwell, Gallagher, Caicedo, Fernandez, Palmer, Broja, Sterling for Chelsea. Those are the teams from the 3 o'clockers in the Premier League this afternoon for those games. So we have a corner for Luton as we're in just coming up to the last 10 minutes here at Kenilworth Road. Corner whipped in, half not cleared away by Spurs. I think Morris got a slight touch on it. The ball will run over the byline, and that will be a goal kick to Spurs, which will ease the bit of pressure on them. Now, Luton are going to make a change. Ross Barkley is readying to come onto the pitch. Maybe a bit of an attacking burst laid on. Tom Lockyer is going to make way, so they're going to put an extra body up front. An extra body in attack. Luton to try and give them something. At the moment they have to take a slight risk because they're not winning at the moment. They need to take that risk to try and win, or try and even get back level to score a goal against this Spurs team. Spurs team that have conceded 8 goals this season. This win currently puts them top of the Premier League table, and they will stay top until at least tomorrow when Arsenal play Man City, and the winner of that game will go top. But if that ends a draw, Spurs will end the weekend at the top, but all of that to come. Spurs at the moment, with this being a win, they will be top of the pile in the Premier League. They're going to make a change as well. Destiny Udogie is going to make way for Ben Davis for Tottenham. Ben Davis coming on, replacing Udogie. The Spurs fans, this will probably feel like the longest 10 minutes of their season so far. Down to 10, 1-0 up. A lot on the line here for Spurs. A position at the top of the Premier League table is what's on the line. And a massive 3 points at a difficult away ground, with one less player for a whole half of the game. Nakamba dispossessed by Højbjerg. Kulishevsky trying to pick it up, but he was in an offside position when that pass was made, so that'll be a Luton free kick. Spurs really at this stage are just trying to hold on to this lead. Ange Postecoglou, he's got some good facial expressions in that sideline there. Ross Barkley finds it to Nakamba. Across to Woodrow on the right hand side. Ogbene, that will run out for a Luton throw in off the Spurs player, taken quickly by Ogbene. Nakamba now finds Barkley. Barkley with a switch ball, but that one's misplaced. Straight out of play. Alfie Doughty was free on the left hand side, but a misplaced pass by Barkley. Straight out of play for a Spurs throw. They're taking the time in this throw-in. No, can't blame them. Spurs. Royale to take it. Bouncing around. Doughty does well to retreat and win it back. Now Burke. Nakamba. Burke. Time's running out for Luton to find this equaliser. Having more of the ball, but their chances have been... They've had chances, they just haven't finished them. Barkley, nice football. Chong. Down the left is Doughty in a bit of space. Doughty with the ball in. Headed away that time by Spurs again. And that's heavy touch by Ted and Mengi there, and that will run out for Spurs throw in. That's it should do better from that position, Luton, but Spurs have held on well. When Luton have come forward, they've cleared the ball away at the first time of asking, or at the very least, the second time of asking. Haven't allowed Luton very much space in their own 18-yard box at the moment. That's a foul on to Heath Chong. Luton will have a free kick here. There is a man down though for Spurs. It's Kulishevsky holding his head. See this again. Yeah. It's an accidental one from Ted and Mengi. It's kind of... They both go up with the ball. Kulishevsky just loses his footing, and then as Mengi was trying to get away from it, he kind of... His right boot just knocked it the head of Dejan Kulishevsky, so that's why he's down. It's not that he's doing it to time waste, I'm sure. Dejan Kulishevsky back to his feet. They're going to make another change here, Spurs. This will be their last change of the game. They're going to make that very shortly, not just yet. Kaminsky with a free kick out from the back. Oh, Vicario almost losing the flight of the ball there, but he did get the catch on the ball in his own 18-yard box. It's 4 minutes plus additional time to go. Luton 0, 10-man Tottenham 1. Mickey van de Ven with the only goal of the game. Davis. Back to Van de Ven. Vicario clearing it out. Porro did win the first header. Trying to get a challenge there was Alfie Doughty, and then the heavy touch from Porro on the break will give Luton a throw in. Nakamba. Burke. Chidozie Ogbene back to Barkley. Burke to Nakamba. We need to get the ball forward. Nakamba, nice ball down the left. Here's Alfie Doughty. He's been a real threat for Luton all day, Doughty. Tried to cross it. Blocked by Porro. Throw in Luton. Definitely going to have one or two more chances, Luton, and if they come, they're going to need to take them, but that's given away poorly by Barkley. Skip picks it up. Højbjerg plays it through. Skip trying to force it to make the run, but good defending by Chong. Gets it back to his keeper, Kaminsky. Nakamba. Playing it out from the back, Mengi. Chong. Now Barkley. Nakamba. Better from Luton. Woodrow coming deeper. Lays it off to Ogbene. Ogbene looking for the cross. Blocked by Spurs. Nakamba will pick it up. Ogbene again. Woodrow on the right flank. Woodrow with a cross in. Doughty with a poor header. It's not much pace in that. And Spurs can clear it again, away again. And now the run of Kulishevsky. Alleviate that pressure on that Spurs defence at the moment here. Kulishevsky trying to find another body, but there's no one there. Has to go back to Skip. That's really good from Kulishevsky to hold it up for as long as he possibly could. Nice ball by Kulishevsky trying to find Skip, and the late challenge from Reece Burke takes out Oliver Skip, but a free kick will be given to Spurs, or is it a throw in? Linesman flagged it, whatever it was. To throw in Spurs. Pedro Porro to take. Porro throws it straight at Kulishevsky. Back to Porro. Tight link up, skip. Now finds Kulishevsky in the box. Kulishevsky, can he find another Spurs body or break through? Doughty there to clear it. Half clear it actually. Sarr picks it up on the edge. Pap Sarr. Porro on the right hand side for Spurs. Skip trying to get past Doughty there, but the ball does fall to Porro. Luton struggling to clear their lines at the moment, and Barkley has to take a deflection, block it, and puts it out for a Spurs corner. Spurs have the corner then here. Porro takes it short. Porro linking up, trying to make the run into the box. Chong broke it apart. Barkley. Can Luton get the counter-attack going? Barkley trying to switch it. Finds Ogbene. Ogbene on the right. A bit deeper than he would have wanted, but he switches it back towards Barkley, who made a run down the left. But again, misplaced. We've just surpassed the 90 minutes, and we will have 5 additional minutes at the end of this half then. So 5 minutes for Luton to try and find an equaliser. 5 minutes for Spurs to hold on to the 1-goal lead. There's no hanging on for Middlesbrough. They're 4-0 up now against Sunderland. Marcus Forss with the 4th goal. Comfortable enough victory for Middlesbrough on the road this afternoon. And they will move up into 14th in the Championship. Sunderland will stay in 4th at the moment. Well, a win for Spurs will be huge, not considering the fact that it will keep their unbeaten run going, but it would also see them their 6th win in 8, which is an unreal and a sensational sensational start, considering they're under a new regime under Ange Postecoglou, still in the very, very early stages of that. He's starting to get the best out of these Spurs players, something that previous managers weren't able to do. Still very early days, of course. It's only his 8th Premier League game in charge, but so far it started really, really well. 6 wins, 2 draws, as it seems at the moment. If they can hang on here and clear their lines. What a clearance that is by Van der Ven. Nearly giving Luton a goal kick. It's that far away. Doughty with the ball out from the back. Chong takes a nice touch, but Van der Ven's instantly on that one, back to his keeper. Nakamba tries to pick it up in the middle. John tried to be flicked round the corner to find Woodrow, but again Luton just not on the same page at the moment. And Vicario will pick it up and try and waste as much time as possible. Last 3 minutes here for Luton. They're going to need to make it move it quickly, get it back and get the ball up the pitch and try and force it. Spurs just trying to hold it up, trying to keep as much pressure off their defenders as possible at the moment. Bouncing around, holding it up at the front. Or Spurs holding firm, and Porro's actually gone down there. He wanted a free kick, but they were checking for something, maybe VAR, but nothing given. And Barkley's push there, and we'll give Spurs a free kick. Seeing the replay, yeah, there's nothing in that, really. The bench got a bit too overexcited, that, from Ange Postecoglou. Keep their cool here, Spurs. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, about 90 seconds to go. Still 1-0 up, down to 10, but maybe there is one last chance for Luton. Kaminsky. Doughty, can he spot a ball forward? Tries to switch it. Davies with the clearance. Burke trying to keep it alive, but Spurs carrying it away. That's lovely. Spurs on the break, trying to finish it off here. Can they? No. Luton get bodies back in the way. And that'll be a free kick. The flag's actually gone up against the Spurs player there. Villiers. And that'll be a free kick to Luton. Last minute of the 95. Is there one last opportunity for Luton? They have a free kick. They have a chance. Spurs just need to hold on for another 50 seconds, 40 seconds or so. The clock is ticking down. Time is running out for Luton. Kaminski takes the free kick right out from the back. Davis has to clear it, but Luton will have a throw in. High on the right hand side. Ogbene finds Carlton Morris on the edge. Morris trying to lift one in. Flicks the second ball forward and straight at Vicario. And that might be that. Højbjerg's just gone down in his own box. Could be all that play acting type of stuff. Trying to waste as much time as possible, it seems, but there's not much time left. This is... Højbjerg just play acting there. Trying to waste as much time. He now has to go off the pitch because he went down injured, and that's the new law. If you're down injured at any point, you have to come off for at least 30 seconds off the pitch. You might not get back on. There might not be enough time. Spurs might have 9 men here for the last few seconds, but Vicario does fire it long. John Brooks, the referee, still playing. Barkley with the first header. Half cleared by Romero, who flicks it behind. Not a bad ball forward by Luton, but Vicario's there to clear it away. Clinging on at the moment, Spurs. Villiers tried to flick it on, but offside. Maybe there's one last chance. Well played over the 5. Kaminski, they have to get bodies forward here, Luton. Doughty switching the ball across. Morris with a flick on. Bouncing around Woodrow with a clearance. Morris. Ogbene flicks it into the box. Bouncing around. Chi Chong almost got there. And the follow-up is well over the bar. That was the opportunity to Heath Chong. Almost got there. But Spurs putting bodies on the line. And Christian Romero blocking it. And that is the full-time whistle. Bodies on the line for Spurs. Holding on. They come into this second half with one less player on a level playing field at 0-0. But they worked so hard. And the character of the team really showing there. They're delighted with this. They got the goal from a Mickey van de Ven flick. From the corner. A short corner. Driven into the box. Madison cut it back. Van de Ven with a finish. Luton had so many chances in that second half to get back on the level terms, but they couldn't find the finish. Spurs hold on. 10-man Tottenham get 3 points away from home, and their unbeaten run continues. 6 wins out of 8. It's an incredible start under Ange Postecoglou, and whatever there is thrown at Spurs at the moment, they seem to overcome it time and time again. Full-time score from Kenilworth Road. It's Luton Town 0. Tottenham Hotspur 1.